Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Providence. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Jacob Van Lunen. It is time for round number 2, and boy, do we have a big name in the feature match area for round number 2. Osyp Lebedowicz.
Yeah, Pro Tour champion.
PT champ, man. That guy is no joke, and he's playing against Sam Boggs-Jones. Great stuff. This is pretty cool. Osyp is an East Coaster. I believe he lives in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And
New Jersey legend.
He is a legend.
Yeah.
Just ask him. And he made the trip up here to Providence to battle, and it looks like battle is exactly what he wants to do. Is he plays a DePaula following up a smuggler's copter, leaving Sam Boggs-Jones with just a pair of lands, taking 4 damage here and also a loot from Osyp. So this is not a great start for Sam, but it looks pretty good from Osyp, at least so far.
Yeah, Osyp's got to feel good about how this is going thus far. I mean, when you have those 2 permanents on the table before your opponent has affected the board in any way, it's hard to lose. They've got a lot of catching up to do. Osyp has been around for so long and been playing so well. It's just somebody who's been a successful Magic player for well over a decade.
Yeah, this guy gets it. You know, I just feel like, you could if he dedicated himself to Magic, he would just be one of the top players perpetually. Just a really solid, really good Magic player. And it's always fun to see him come out to some of these tournaments and play. Looks like he's got a Thraben Inspector as a follow-up.
Yeah, Thraben Inspector, so good, especially now that Smuggler's Copter has presence in Standard. I mean, the card was already a Standard playable, good card, but now it has really just become even better.
Yes. Yes, it really does hit on all the angles that you want in these decks, which is insane. Mainly for this ability. The ability to crew a Smuggler's Copter is just another thing on the list of things that Thraben Inspector does well. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and crew up, attack for 7. Sam, a little jumpy on the blocks there because Osyp is actually still resolving his loot, I believe.
Your pairings your seedings are being posted by column 5 by the
Yeah, not really at the declare blockers phase.
No.
Quite yet.
No, and it is important, if you're in Sam Boggs-Jones's seat, that, you want to make sure that you do wait for each of these things. You don't want to give a player like Osyp any extra information about what your plan might be. A lot of players wouldn't block with Tireless Tracker, thinking, okay, well, the only way I'm going to win this game is if I get to start drawing some clues and take over in the late game. And Osyp just doesn't, he's not privy to how you may consider that, right? As it turns out, I think that's a pretty important block, though. It is interesting to note that Osyp, I don't know what's in his hand, but he kind of good guyed him there. He still discarded a second copy of DePaula.
Yeah, even knowing that his opponent was going to block.
Right, where maybe, if you didn't know, like, the DePaula might be useful since one of them's dying, but, whatever. Little interesting. So, oh, here's a Gisela, though, for Sam Boggs-Jones. That's going to ask a very poignant question here. Hey, Osyp, do you have a removal spell? Because if you don't
that card does.
Right now, then Gisela's going to get you. Whoa. Is Osyp just going to jam here?
Interesting. I wonder.
He must have something.
What it is that he could have. He might just be drawing for something, though.
Well, let's find out. We'll just sit back and watch. Take a look at Osyp. Discards a land. Now we see. Also, this is a fairly hidden play as well. The Archangel Avacyn there from Osyp hits a battlefield. You can see that there's one in his graveyard as well that he had looted away earlier. But which is a hint that he may have one in his hand, but it's also not, because that was his first loot, and it's a 5-drop. He just might have been out of lands, So pretty tough there for Sam to really predict, and I think I like the play from him. It looks like he's going to go get another one. That's Thalia's Lancers here. Look at this guy.
At this point, it might be too little too late, though.
It's felt like it's been too late since he played turn 3 Tracker with nothing before it,
Yeah.
I mean, it really has. Like,
it
really felt like Osyp's just been way out ahead. The Gisela was a good start on coming back in case Osyp didn't have an answer, but since he did, it's like, kind of GG. I mean, it's just going to be very, very tough for Sam to come back from.
Trial Plus. Please report to the Blue Gathering Point flag. Again, Magic players in the Eternal Weekend Trial Plus. Please report to the Blue Gathering Point flag.
Let's see.
At the minimum, Osyp can jam for 7 here in the air, just flying over the 4/4 first striking Thalia's Lancers, and put Sam on a 1-turn clock. I did not see what he revealed, but I was assuming it would be another Gisela, mainly because of the how good that card is on defense against flyers.
It just puts the brakes on Osyp's aggressive plan so hard here. I mean, because it's getting him the 4 life in addition to, preventing one of those attackers from getting through.
Right.
It does give him the breathing room to survive, depending on what Osyp has here. So, looks like Osyp has another copy of Smuggler's Copter. Not the best at this stage of the game, but I mean, he can be rest assured that he's not really going to be flooded from here on out, I imagine.
Right. It looks like Osyp is considering lining up a monster attack here, where he attacks with Needle Spires and the Toolcraft Exemplar as well as the 2 flyers.
Yeah, and the one thing that's nice about that is that, he's going to be getting in for 10 damage because, Sam's going to have to, block that Needle Spires, and, that's just a land. And if Osyp needs another 5th land, which is unlikely, then he has, a pair of Smuggler's Copters to find it.
Well, but also it ends up being lethal, right? Like, if one of his creatures dies, then Avacyn's going to transform on Sam's upkeep and then kill him, right? That's like 10+3.
Yeah.
I think that Osyp is just working through, well, how does this go wrong, right? Like, so I make this play, it looks good on paper, but is there some way that Sam can interact with this where he doesn't die? And it seems pretty unlikely. Like, that trigger's going on the stack.
Yep.
And I like this play a lot from Osyp. He's just jamming with the team here, and he really is putting him dead here.
Yeah,
unless Sam has something pretty special on his upkeep.
It doesn't look like there's anything special enough in his deck list.
Prix. He's actually going to block the Toolcraft Exemplar, which means he's taking an additional damage from the Needle Spires, which he could have blocked and just killed that. Though I don't think the difference between being at 3 and 2 is super relevant here. Pass. Trigger.
Yeah.
Does this happen? If this happens, you're dead. Unless you can gain life immediately. You got a Blessed Alliance? I mean, there's not much, right?
No.
Sam says, you got me. Okay, so that's going to be game 1. And Osyp is going to take down game 1. And I think Osyp's asking him, well, what could you even have?
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah. Osyp's got a big personality, too. You can see him joking around with Sam. He's a funny dude.
He is very funny. He used to be a lot more vocal during matches than he is now, and he's still quite vocal in matches. He enjoys playing. He's somebody you can definitely watch and tell that he's having a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's also from a slightly different era, kind of like not the full old school, kind of Wild West, but from a more chatty, talkative time in Magic when he was, near his peak, or at his peak when he was winning PTs and such. It was I've watched a significant amount of the coverage that was done then, which wasn't a ton, to be honest. But from what I've seen and read, people tended to, they would talk trash even in the middle of a match.
Yeah.
Which is something that we never see anymore, ever. Like if you go
now it's very much frowned upon.
Yeah.
I think back then there was almost like a jovial nature to it. And I think that, in some ways it's good that that's gone away. I think that there are acceptable circumstances where you can do that amongst people that you know well.
Yeah, I agree.
And, I think that it is not appropriate when you do not know the person well. And I think back then a lot of people felt that it was an edge or, in some way, part of their game.
Yeah,
And
they did.
maybe that's not true anymore.
I think
So
that's
it's good.
Yeah, I think that a couple of things have happened. First and foremost, I think that the Magic playing community, especially that era of players, they've matured. They're just
Absolutely.
older. I mean, look at Osyp. He's a big boy. He's all grown
Yeah.
up, and
He's a respectable member of society.
right. And 10
He
years
absolutely
ago, you're in your early mid-20s or whatever, and you just think you're the big hot shot guy, whatever, and you can run your mouth a little bit. When you get a little older, get a little more perspective, that kind of stuff tends to fall away, and you feel like there's other things to be gained by maybe not talking.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's appropriate that players have transitioned into a different era, for themselves.
I think that's one of the best parts about Magic having been around for so long too, is that the game has grown up,
Yeah.
and that the players have grown up with it.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's become like more mature and inclusive in the process.
Yeah, I think so too. I do wish sometimes though that we had a little more banter, a little more
A little bit of
interactive.
Reggie Miller.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a little, I think that there is some room for some fun, for some interaction, just a little here
he'll
and there.
still have some fun.
It is pretty. No, I mean verbally, like with each other at the table. If you watch a Pro Tour match, I mean, if there's 5 words said between the players, to each other that are voluntary, that's a surprise. They talk, of course, I'll attack, I'll block, that kind of stuff. But if it's hey, how you doing? That's about what you get out of it, And I kind of like it when the players mix it up a little bit and just, maybe tease themselves or, ask the other person a question. Like I'll do that sometimes just to, how many cards do you have left? 1, like, is it any good? You're not, it's not like some big ploy. It's just you're kind of having fun with them, or, adding a little light to what can be a pretty intense situation.
Yeah, I enjoy personality being a factor. Osyp used to just talk the whole match, the whole way through. Back in the day, oh my goodness.
Is that right?
Remember, yeah, like New Jersey States, I played against him when I was like 12 or 13, and he just talked to me the whole time. He was like asking me if cards were Christmas presents and stuff. And it was so funny. It was like,
You get that from your mom?
and I think some of the
Who
cards
bought you
were
that
in
one?
fact Christmas presents, which made it even better. Yeah.
Pretty great. Take a look at Ryan Betrix versus Frank Skarren here as we just pop over for a moment while our main match finishes with their sideboarding. That's pretty great, man. Christmas presents. That is pretty funny. Especially that he was right.
Yeah, it was like a Psychotog mirror or something. Hilarious.
Because you're from New Jersey, too.
Yeah.
So you're right in Osyp's backyard there. I mean, you kind of came up in
Yeah.
his shadow. I mean, how would you? Like
Well,
he was a step
didn't
ahead
know,
of you guys.
He didn't
or-
know who I was when I was younger. Like I would play against him
No, but
sometimes
you
in
knew
bigger
who he
tournaments. I
was, is what I'm
definitely
saying.
knew who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely would play his decks and would, definitely look up to him and, I'd shadow around those guys and try to, because back then there wasn't really even much of a Magic internet.
Let's head back to the main match here. It looks like they're underway. I don't want to miss anything. Can be a pretty quick matchup, depending on how things go for Osyp. As we saw in that first game, though, it looks like a slower start here. No play by turn 3 from Osyp. What is going on here?
Wow.
Nothing? Luckily for him, Sam has done stone nothing to this point as well. Though now he will. And it's going to, looks like Giselle's going to get Sky Whaler shot right out of the sky. That harpoon was meant for a Sky Whale, but hey, sometimes it hits an angel.
Giselle's kind of a sky whale. That's a big card.
Looks like Osyp actually has maybe a Chandra. Oh, yeah. Chandra Torch of Defiance here from Osyp on an empty board. So he gets to start going to work with Chandra. Let's see what Osyp wants to do.
And he's going to tick up here. Now, this is an interesting thing from Osyp. So, Osyp's on the draw here because he won the first game, rather. Now, in this format, when you're trying to be aggressive, when you're trying to run people over, that plan on the draw isn't really quite as powerful. I mean, cards like Smuggler's Copter do not do well when you're trying to catch up in terms of tempo. The really cheap creatures don't do that well when you're trying to catch up. And there's no way he can know that Sam was going to just do nothing for the first 3 turns. And maybe he sideboarded in such a way that his deck can become more controlling for the second game here.
It doesn't look good, though. I mean, like, having Chandra on the battlefield is obviously great. But here's Thalia's Lancers going to search up a Bruna, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Let's see if we can... Yeah, that's exactly what that is. So Sam is like, hey, if you're going to give me this much time, I'm going way over the top. I mean, he's still at least 2 turns away from casting Bruna, but if he does, he gets back Gisela. Yeah. They meld. God, I would love to see that on camera. I'm sure Osyp disagrees with me on that, but... Osyp's got an interesting turn coming up depending on the composition of his hand. We can guess that he's relatively threat light as he did nothing for 3 turns and then played Chandra. He played removal spell into Chandra. Yeah, and this is Osyp kind of putting the pieces together. It's not good news for you, buddy. That is not what you want to see. Now, he can take down Thalia's Lancers using Chandra's minus ability if he doesn't have another answer, or he can dig.
It looks like he does have Avacyn in hand, so that would be like the ideal usage of mana here, but...
Yeah, and he's actually going to go ahead and plus Chandra, which is going to be pretty awkward for him. Well, maybe not. You know, if he hit a good spell there, but he really wanted to play Avacyn, he kind of telegraphed his intentions. Also, you'll note here that Plains, he cannot play that using Chandra. It says specifically that you have to cast the card. Oh, a nice turn here from Osyp, though. He's got Declaration in Stone to take down the only threat on the board, and then he follows up with a Depala as well.
And that Depala can really keep the cards flowing in a deck like this where you're playing so many different dwarves and vehicles. What is it about dwarves that make them, you know, like to drive so much? It's like just hang out, driving cars. So Osyp continuing to tick up this Chandra here.
Magic players, this is last call to register for the Modern Showcase Plus at 11 o'clock. If you are interested in playing in the Modern Showcase Plus, please come to registration and register now. Again, this is last call to register for the Modern Showcase Plus.
Oh, wow. This could be... I'm so excited about seeing the meld.
Well, yeah, this is a really interesting line here from Sam. So he's got authority of the consoles to keep down the threats, and then he's just going to go for the big meld play. Yeah, this is bad news, Osyp. This is not what you wanted to see, man. He keeps reading it, but...
Man, we all just want to see it happen.
Don't take this from us.
Don't take this from us. This is Bracella.
Yeah, Bracella.
Voice of Nightmares.
Voice of Nightmares, that's right. She's a 9/10 with Flying First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink, and your opponents can't cast spells with converted mana cost 3 or less, which is the majority of cards in Osyp's deck, by the way. We saw Sam play a tap land last turn, so he needs an untapped land if he wants to just go for it here. Osyp's going to attack with Depala. What else does he have? He's just going to activate Depala for 4 here. Oh, that's not good news. He's not finding an answer for Bracella with that. He did find a vehicle, though.
Yeah.
Sky Sovereign, not bad, but how in the world? Like, you have the deck list.
I'm trying to think of what he's going to do.
How can he possibly beat Bracella?
I mean, he could set up a stasis snare play on his opponent's turn.
But he can't cast spells with...
Well, can he do it when, like, before the meld happens?
Yes.
But he doesn't have 3 mana up
He can
right
do
now.
it when Brune enters the battlefield and triggers. There are windows there. Okay, so Sam's going to crack a clue here. And my assumption here is that he's looking for that untapped land. Does he have it?
My goodness.
He's got 6 mana. Let's see. He's got all those cards in his hand. Oh, he's got a Plains. All right, he's got a Port Town and a Plains to reveal, and here we go. Boom. Bruna, trigger on the stack. Trigger resolves, and there we go.
The good news here. Oh, so that's the plan.
Bummer. Yeah, because there is a window
Yeah.
for Osyp.
Man, that was so exciting for a moment, though.
Oh, it was so close.
Well, now we get to see something that's almost as exciting. A Chandra Torch of Defiance ultimate.
An ultimate. Wow, this is quite a slugfest we've put together here.
That means that Osyp's going to be throwing 5 damage around every time he casts a spell, I believe. And when you have the spells just flowing with a Depala, it's pretty good. Wow, this is pretty exciting. Oh, not ultimating the Chandra before casting a spell? Is he not going to ultimate the Chandra? Is that going to...
I want to see it.
I want to see it, too.
I don't know how Sam beats it.
Yeah, it seems pretty hard to overcome, right?
It really does.
Yeah, any spell, and it can go creature or player. I mean, it's a very real emblem.
Yeah, especially with Sky Sovereign, because Bruna there has 7 toughness, but he can just play Sky Sovereign and just that's 5 plus the 3 from Sky Sovereign, and just leave Sam with just the Authority of the Consuls, which looks not good.
He just puts him in a lethal range, like, right away.
Come on, Osyp. Yes. Remove the dice. All right. We've got a Chandra emblem on the battlefield. So whenever Osyp casts a spell, that emblem's going to do 5 damage to a creature or player.
That's any spell. Like, he can cast a Thraben Inspector and just lava axe Sam in the process.
He can actually get him to 1 here, right? He could just cast either of his 2 5-drops plus a Thraben Inspector if he's got one. And just bang, bang, get you to 1. With Osyp at 20, it's going to be very, very difficult. All right, well, that's the wrong emblem. But still, we know the deal.
We know what's going on.
We know what's up. Oh, it's not good news, Sam. It is not good news. But that's Osyp saying, whenever I do anything, you die. So how about we start off with Sky Sovereign. Fire it off on that, and then do the 5 to that as well, which is going to get in some damage.
Yeah, and now using Depala, activating the trigger. Not finding another vehicle, but that's okay.
Sam should gain a life there. Or no, he shouldn't. I'm sorry, it's a vehicle. That's pretty brutal. Authority of the Consuls not looking like an all-star here.
No.
If Sam has another Bruna, though, could we be in business? That's not what he has, is it?
Doesn't look like it.
Well, he's got another Gisela, which is probably just not good enough in any capacity.
Yeah, it does not match up well against the Sky Sovereign.
Or the emblem.
Yeah.
Yep. That should do it.
Yeah, Sky Sovereign
That's
actually...
Osyp can actually just play basically anything. He can activate it. Needle Spires, activate the Sovereign, attack with both, shoot down Gisela, kill you.
Yeah, and
That's
Sky
for
Sovereign,
8.
a very strong card to bring in as a sideboard option against these decks that have Gisela.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, this is why Gisela has never really caught on in Standard, even though it's clearly a very, very powerful Magic card. And that 3 toughness is such a liability. It really is. They've had Fiery Temper, and then, we've got Harness Lightning as well, and even, like you said, like randomly, Sky Sovereign shoots it down. It's like, all right, well, I think I've seen enough.
It might be an exciting card to play alongside Blossoming Defense at some point during the Standard format. It goes along with the Kalitas kind of... This is a big thing with lifelink. Let's protect it.
Osyp attacking for 5 and shooting down Giselle in the process. Basically meaning that all he needs to do is cast a spell. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. A Spell Queller here from Sam. So he's going to use that as a chump blocker. And Osyp is going to explain to him, well, actually, I have the chance to react before blocks. You can't just jump into blocks. So this is an important sequence because this is actually going to dictate who wins the game. So Osyp is going to flash in an Archangel Avacyn most likely here. Hey, we even got the right emblem. And that is going to allow him...
Oh, with what he has in hand, it doesn't even matter how he does it. He can just...
He can do whatever he wants. He just needs to cast a couple spells here. He's got a Thraben Inspector, which is 5 damage for 1 mana.
It's a good rate.
Not bad.
It also draws you a card whenever you want it to.
Not the worst.
Cruise some helicopters for you.
Does enter the battlefield tapped. And you can see Osyp has been helpful with the triggers as well for Sam. That's nice of him.
Yeah, Osyp always reminding everybody about game state.
And there's 5 damage. And a Thraben Inspector will finish off Sam Boggs-Jones. And Osyp wins the match 2-0, so he'll start off his tournament right. That's certainly how he wants to go. We get a smile out of Sam there. His deck looks pretty sweet. We'll keep an eye on it as we go forward. That's going to do it for round 2 here from Providence.
Put your game to the test at a Grand Prix. These Magic celebrations are headlined by 2-day open tournaments with the best players in your region as well as top Magic pros from around the world. Find an upcoming Grand Prix near you at magic.wizards.com/Grand Prix. Support your local game store by going to Friday Night Magic. Have fun hanging out with friends, cracking new Magic packs, and playing with your favorite Kaladesh cards. Featuring devious gremlins, ingenious dwarves, and face-smashing gear hulks.